भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। Chant the Shanti mantra together. Om Apyayantu Mamangani Vak Pranashchakshushrotramako Balamindriyani Cha Sarvani Sarvam Brahmopanishadam Maham Brahma Nirakuryam Maham Brahma Nirakarot Anirakaranamastu Anirakaranam Me Astu Tadātmani Nirateya Upanishadsu Dharmaha Te Mai Santu Te Mai Santu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. You can hear me well? Yes. Okay. So yesterday what we saw is how to recognize that we are Sat. And one is, in deep sleep, we attain to our true being. We are called Swapiti. Swapiti means Swam Apito Bhavati. That I attain my true being in deep sleep. And Swapiti means the one who sleeps. And why is that? Because, as was explained yesterday, that the mind is like a mirror. And the pure being or Sat is like the face, right? And the reflection is like the Jiva. And in deep sleep, what happens is the mind folds up. And when the mind folds up in deep sleep, where does this reflection go to? It goes to its original. Like when you take the mirror away, the reflection goes back to the original, right? So in the same way, we fold up the mind is dormant now, and the reflection goes back to Sat. So in deep sleep state, we attain our true being. And deep sleep is a state where there's absolutely no duality. The mind is dormant. The Jiva is also not there. There's no sense of I. It's dormant, right? That Jiva is dormant because that its reflection has merged into the self. And what is present is Sat alone. But there's that ignorance, there's that veil of ignorance, which is why we don't know that we have attained to Sat. And this example will come again, so I'll elaborate a little bit more there. So in deep sleep, we attain to our true being, we become one with Sat. But not only in deep sleep, we can know Sat, also in hunger and in thirst. Why? Because in hunger, what happens is that water dries up that food, right? That saliva dries up that food. And then when that food is liquefied, right? What happens is that fire dries it up. The fire dries it up. So the root of earth or food is water. Because water liquefies it. And then the root of water is fire, because fire dries it up. So whenever we are full of heat, we become thirsty, right? And what is the root of fire? The root of fire is Sat. So even in our hunger, even in our thirst, we can think of Sat. What is the root of all this? It is only pure being, pure existence, Sat. Then in the 8th section, in the last mantra, so I'm looking at the 6th mantra now, he also said that even in death, you can trace it to Sat. How? Because he says, in death, what happens is, Purushasya Prayataha, of the one who is departing, right? What happens? How is the procedure of death? Vang Manasi Sampadyate. So the speech merges into the mind. So in the time of death, when a person is dying, they stop talking. They can't say any more words. And what's alert maybe is just the mind. Right? And that's why many people come near them, just so that the person recognizes them, but they cannot speak maybe. We can speak to them, but they cannot speak to us. So in death, the speech merges into the mind. Then what happens is, manaf prane. The mind merges into the pranas. So manaf prane, the mind merges into the pranas. So now the person might not be able to recognize anything anymore, might not have that thinking capacity, but the pranas are still there. They're still breathing. Right? But are they dead yet? No. Because as long as the body is warm, there's still life in it. So the pranas merge into the fire element. And what happens is, the pranas stop for a moment, but the body is still hot, still warm. So there's still life there. But when that fire element merges into Sat, when that fire element goes and the body is now cold, then death happens. That's how people die. So that fire element merges into Sat. So what we see is, not only in deep sleep, we can think of Sat, not only in hunger and thirst we can think of Sat, but also very much so at death. That food element, after speech, the food element, the subtle aspect of food is the mind. The mind merges into the pranas. The subtle aspect of water is the pranas. And the pranas merge into fire, the fire element. And that fire element, it merges into Sat. Parasyam, Devatayam here is Sat. So manap prane, pranas tejasi, prana merges into fire, tejaha parasyam devataya. So even at that time, they could feel me. Now, Uddalaka Rishi is about to give the Mahavakya to Shwetaketu. And he's saying that Sat, that pure existence which I've been talking about, that Sat which is the substratum of the world, that Sat is the substratum of you also. But didn't I just show you in deep sleep, in hunger, and thirst, and death, that Sat is the substratum of you. Therefore, that Sat, Tvam Asi, that Sat is you. And this Tat Tvam Asi, which we will read shortly, is called a Mahavakya. What is a Mahavakya? A Mahavakya is a great statement. A Maha, great, Vakya, statement. And when we were speaking with the children the other day, right, about the speech, about what speech should be. Do you all remember? Spouse, right? Satyam, Priyam, Hitam, Mitam. If we think of what speech, I had said that it's very hard to speak the truth, correct? Very hard, because many times we exaggerate, or we twist things, or, we create some, lie. So actually, if we think about all speech, it's actually all a lie. Why? Because we start from I. I am going here. I am coming here. I am doing this. And that I itself, that ego is a lie. It's a lie, right? So any sentence that we speak, it starts with a lie itself. So there is actually no truth in what we speak. I am coming here, I am going there, I am reading this, I am doing this. Really? Is that ego? Is that ego, first of all, really there to begin with? To say that I am doing this, and I am doing that, and I am going here. Is that ego really there to begin with? So that speech which we speak is actually all lies. So the only true speech can be this Mahavakya. And when we speak about what is Priya, what is out of love, what can be the most loving speech? But you are infinite, you are great, you are that, right? But no, we want that you are beautiful, you are smart, you are so awesome. We want these short compliments. That you are such a great mom. You are infinite, the Upanishads are saying. That is the most loving speech ever. So why search for compliments? When you need compliments, open Upanishad. You'll get many compliments. 9 times in this Upanishad you'll get that compliment. Correct? So can there be any more speech that's as loving as this? Can there be any more speech that is hitam, more beneficial than this? This Mahavakya has the capacity to set us free, to free us from all of our sorrows. It has that capacity. So what could be more beneficial than this? And mitam. In such a short form, everything is packed there. Right? In that short 3 words, Tat Tvam Asi. Everything is there. There's nothing else required. So the most satyam, truthful, the most priyam, loving, the most hitam, beneficial, and the most measured speech is a Mahavakya. That's the only truth. And when we think of the 4 factors, Anubandha Chatushtaya. You're all familiar with that? In Vedanta, right? Anubandha Chatushtaya. Chatushtaya, the 4 factors that bandha, they tie us to the text. Upon knowing this 4, then we enter into the text. Adhikari, Vishaya, Prayojana, and Sambandha. Adhikari means student, right? Vishaya, the subject matter. Prayojana, the goal. And Sambandha, the relationship. So this Mahavakya, actually, in that word, Mahavakya, it has all these 4. So how it has the adhikari? Mahavakya is mahat, it's great, because great adhikaris have pursued it. Great students have pursued it. That's why it's so great. Because great students have really sought this truth. And great teachers have given it to them. That's why it's great in terms of adhikari. It's great in terms of Vishaya, because it contains that essence of all the Upanishads. All the Upanishads, that essence is contained in Mahavakya, which is the union of the individual self with the Supreme Self. That identity revealing statement. So it has the greatest Vishaya, the essence of the very Upanishads. And when we look at Prayojana, it is also Mahat Prayojana. Not only Mahat Vishaya, Mahat Prayojana means it's got the greatest goal, because it will liberate us from sorrow. Atyantika Dukkha Nivritti and Paramananda Prapti. Means it will remove all of our sorrow and grant us that bliss which is our nature. So Mahat Prayojana is Mahavakya. And Mahat Sambandha also. Mahat Sambandha, because any text that we study, this Mahavakya is able to connect all of the texts. So any Upanishad that you study this Upanishad, Chandogya, Kathopanishad, Mandukya, Mundaka, and any Prakarana Grantha, Atma Bodha, Tattva Bodha, any text that we study, that which ties all of the texts together, like all the hairs on one head, that is a Mahavakya. So it's Mahat Sambandha. And that's why in the Brahma Sutras, the fourth sutra is Tattu Samanvayat, right? That Adi Shankaracharya ji proves that this Mahavakya is the essential message of everything. So in this Mahavakya is the greatest, the truest speech, all the great students and teachers have pursued it. It is the greatest subject matter. It is the greatest goal. It will give us the greatest goal, that ultimate freedom. And it has the greatest relationship with all of our literature. And very beautifully, somebody said that if people were to again burn all of our literature, leave us with Tat Tvam Asi, and we can create everything again. That's how deep it is. Not even Tat Tvam Asi, leave us with Om, and we can make everything again. So that's how beautiful our scriptures are. You can take everything away. We have these statements, we can live our life perfectly. So this is the greatness of the statement. One other also, a simple way, a simple example to understand this statement. One Mahatma gave this example. I'll share with you. Somebody asked him, what is the difference, between Ishvara and Jiva? Ishvara, God, and Jiva. Because when we talk about the world, we use Ishvara. When we talk about the individual, we use Jiva. And he was cutting grass. He's sitting there. And it was his king who asked, this Raja, So this king came, and he came with his whole army of ministers and everything. He had an umbrella over him. People were holding an umbrella. They're fanning him and everything. And he said that, this person, this Mahatma said, okay, now you want to know? The king said, yes. He said, first you leave all of this. Let your ministers go, leave your umbrella, leave your carriage, leave your fan, leave everything. And then he said, okay, I'll leave everything. He also put down the tool for cutting grass. He said, now see, before I was a grass cutter and you were a Raja. Now you let go of all of your, your whole retinue, and I let go of my grass cutter. Now we are one. We're the same. Both of us are people. Both of us are men. Right? He said that is exactly Mahavakya. When we let go of all the conditionings of Jiva and let go of all the conditionings of Ishvara, the essence is Tat Tvam Asi, that you are. When we let go of, if you think of the water and the ocean and the wave, right? The ocean is described as Ishvara because it is very vast. It is very, very powerful. It's very grand. And the wave is Jiva. We're small. And the power of Jiva is very limited. The strength of Jiva is limited. So if you think of this ocean, Ishvara, and the wave, Jiva, the reality of the ocean is water. The reality of the wave is water. That is called Tat Tvam Asi. Disregard the ocean, because the ocean is just a name and form. It's just a name and form. It cannot exist without water. Disregard the wave, because it's just a name and form. It cannot exist without water. Essential nature of the ocean is water. Essential nature of the wave is water. And water alone is the reality. That is called Tat Tvam Asi. Right? So now let us read. So when these words come, don't take them lightly. They have that capacity to set you free right there and then. So think about it deeply as we're chanting. Right? So we're in the 7th mantra now. Saya esho anima Aitadapnyamidam sarvam. So we're on page 64 if you have the book. We'll start again so that everybody's on the same page. On page 64. Sayesho anima Aitadapnyamidam sarvam Tat Satyam Sa Atma Tat Tvam Asi Shweta Keto Iti Bhuya Eva Ma Bhagavan Vignapayat-viti Tatha Somyeti Hovacha. So Uddalaka says Sa. Sa means that existence that we've been talking about. Yaha, that which is Esha Anima, that subtle essence, that subtle existence. Because remember, this existence is partless. It's beyond the mind, it's beyond the senses. The words can't even grasp it. It is so subtle, yet it pervades everything. So this subtle essence, Anima, this subtle essence, Sayaha, Eshaha, Anima, Idam Sarva, all this entire world, Aitadatnyamidam, has that for itself. So Idam Sarvam, this entire world has that existence. When we say Aitadatnyamidam, means has existence for itself. It cannot exist without existence. Tat Satyam, that existence, that truth, Tvam Asi. Tat Satyam Sa Atma. That truth is your Atma. That Sat is your Atma. Tat Tvam Asi. That you are. O Shvetaketu. That existence, you are. This is what Uddalaka Rishi tells Shvetaketu. Such a loaded statement. But Shvetaketu says, Bhuya eva ma bhagavan. Please tell me again. Vignapayatu iti. Please tell me again because I'm unable to grasp it. It's so subtle, so deep, so profound that I'm unable to grasp it. Please tell me again. How am I that pure existence? And Uddalaka Rishi, so compassionate, says, Tatha, so be it, Somya, Tatha so be it, Vacha. So now, from here on, there's going to be Tat Tvam Asi all the time. And in this Upanishad, it comes 9 times for our own benefit. And don't think that 9 is just a random number, right? I'm sure you all know the deeper meaning of 9 is that anything you multiply to 9, it is always 9, right? So it's telling us that our essence is changeless. You can add anything to you, add any name, form, and whatever, but it's just an appearance. It's not going to change who we are. We are always 9. So Tat Tvam Asi, right? Now let's go into the next section, section 9. Here, so Shvetaketu, he is thinking about deep sleep, and he said, but I don't understand. Why is it when we go to deep sleep, why don't we know who we are? Why don't we know that we are merging with Sat? Why don't we know that we are our true selves? So Uddalaka Rishi gives an example. Yatha somya madhumatu kritaha nistishtanti nanatyayana vrikshana rasat samavaharam ekatam rasam gamayanti te yatha tatra na vivekam labhante amushyaaham vrikshasya rasaha asmi Amushyaaham vrikshasya rasaha asmi. Iti evameva khalu somya imaha sarvaha prajaha sati sampadya naviduhu sati sampadyamahe iti. So he says, yatha, just like, okay, just like O Somya, madhu kritaha nistishtanti. Madhu means honey. Madhu kritaha, the ones who make honey. So honey bees. Madhu kritaha madhu nistishtanti. So just like the bees, they make honey. So now think of bees that make honey. Nanatyayanam vrikshanam. So they go to different trees. They go to very different trees to get the essence, to get the pollen, right? Rasan samavahara, and they collect that rasa, that essence, that pollen, that juice. They collect it. Ekatam rasam gamayanti. So when they collect that juice, that essence, and they go and they make a beehive, it all becomes one homogeneous beehive, right? So all the bees are going in different directions, and they don't speak, by the way, to tell their fellow bees where to go to get pollen. They dance. They have a special dance that they do, and that's how they know which direction to find this special pollen. They get all of that, and then they make one homogeneous beehive. Then what happens? Te yatha tatra. And these juices, so imagine if the juices were speaking. Te yatha tatra, in that beehive, they don't know, navivekam labhante. They don't know, amushyaham vrikshasya rasaha asmi. Means I came from this tree. Amushyaham vrikshasya rasaha asmi. I came from this tree. They don't know that. Once they're merged all together in that beehive, they don't know that I came from this tree, I came from this tree. You can't tell anymore because it's just one homogeneous beehive. There's no distinction that we can see. And therefore he says, Evam eva khalu somya. In the same way, O Somya, imaha sarvaha prajaha. All people, sati sampadya, when we attain sat, in deep sleep, naviduhu, we don't know sati sampadhyamai. We don't know we've attained sat. So just like bees, once they get the juice or the pollen from different trees and they make it one, they don't know whose pollen is who, which tree, which juice, they don't know. The same way, when we go to sleep, we lose all of our individuality, and we don't know also that we have attained sat. So, when we go to deep sleep, there is this, what we call ajnana vritti. Very, very subtle thought of ignorance. So the mind is folded up, vasanas is folded up, the sense of individuality that also has folded up. But there is a subtle thought of ignorance, sometimes called ajnana vritti, sometimes called abhava vritti. And because this thought is pervasive in deep sleep, then we don't know who we are. And when we come out of deep sleep, then our expression is, I don't know what happened, but I felt bliss. I don't know what happened. So the very fact that we say when we come out, I don't know what happened, right? But I felt bliss. That means there was an experience there in deep sleep. There was an experience there. But the experience was of absence. It was an experience of the absence of the world, absence of the ego, absence of duality. So a subtle experience took place there. It's not the absence of experience, it's the experience of absence. Subtle experience took place there. That is why one of you asked about chit. Chit was there, definitely, because anytime there's an experience, there's awareness. So because that Ajnana Vritti or Abhava Vritti was there, then we know that deep sleep is experienced. It is experienced, but I'm not able to voice it in deep sleep. I can't voice it in deep sleep because the individuality is dormant. That mind is dormant. All of those things are dormant. So I'm not able to voice it out. But when I wake up, I know I had that experience. So that is why when we, in deep sleep, when that jiva attains sat, comes to its own being, it doesn't know, jiva doesn't know because there is that abhava or ajnana vritti there. So, naviduhu sati sampad lamahe. So what Uddalaka Rishi is trying to say is, because in deep sleep, there is that ignorance, and even though we merge into the self, because some people might say, if you attained yourself in deep sleep, why not moksha? Why didn't we get moksha? Because there's still that layer of ignorance. So what happens is, as we went to sleep, we also wake up, right? When we go to sleep, often the predominant thought that we've had during the waking state, that's the same thought we wake up from our sleep, right? And so when people talk about death, it's the same thing as sleep. It's the same thing as sleep. It's just that death is, longer, right? And in death only, you wake up in a different body. That's the only difference. In sleep, we sleep and we wake up in the same body. In death, it's like we sleep, but we wake up in a different body. That's all it is. Right? I'm sure we've all studied the Bhagavad Gita and how it said that death is like just changing clothes. Right? So we sleep, we lose our individuality, but it isn't destroyed. We lose our mind, etc. We lose the world, but it isn't destroyed. It comes back out again. So he says now in the next mantra, says, Taiha Vyagro va Simho va Vriko va Varaho va. This is like a musical thing, okay? So follow the beat, okay? So again. Vyagro va Simho va Vriko va Varaho va.
Vyagro va Simho va Vriko va Varaho va.
Kito va Patango va Damsho va Mashako va.
Kito va Patango va Damsho va Mashako va.
Yad yad bhavanti tad abhavanti.
Yad yad bhavanti tad abhavanti.
So he says, the same way these creatures here, Vyagraha, if it was a tiger, or Simhaha, if it's a lion, Vrikaha, if it's a wolf, Varaha, if it's a boar, Kito, or Kitaha, if it's a worm, Patangaha, a moth, or Damsha, tiny insect, or Mashaka, or mosquito, Yad yad bhavanti, whatever they were, tad bhavanti, that alone they will be, right? So whatever they are, again they become that. So when we go to sleep, we wake up the same way because that ignorance is still there. It's still there, right? So now, Uddalaka Rishi says, that sat, attaining which, merging into which we don't know what it is, that is your real nature. So we'll read the mantra now. Saya esho ahima aitadatmyamidam sarvam tat satyam sa atma tat tvam asi shvetaketo iti bhuya eva ma bhagavan yajñāpayatviti Tatha somyeti hovacha. So he says the same thing. That subtlemost essence. Saya esha anima. Aitadatmyavidam sarvam. That world which has this as itself. Tat satyam. That truth. Sa atma is your atma. Tat Tvam Asi Shvetaketu. And Shvetaketu says, Bhuya eva ma bhagavan. Oh Father, again, Vijñapayatu. Please tell me again. And what is Shvetaketu's doubt now? His doubt is, okay, I get it, that when we merge into Sat, we don't know who we are. I get it from your example. But why is it we came from Sat, we don't know? We came from Sat, how come we don't know that we came from Sat? Because we see that people, when they go on vacation, they go to different places, they know where they came from. They know I have to go back home. How come we don't know where we came from? Brahmacharini says, I have an example for you. Let me tell you. So let us see now the next section. Imaha somya nadyaha Purastat prachyaha Syantante Paschat praticyaha Taha samudrat samudram evapi yanti Sasamudra eva bhavati Tayatha tatra Naviduhu Iyam aham asmi Iyam aham asmi Iti Evameva khalu somya Imaha sarvaha prajaha Satha agamya Naviduhu Satha agacchamahe Iti Taiha Vyagro va simho va vriko va varaho va Kito va patango va damsho va mashako va Yad yad bhavanti tad abhavanti So he says, Brahmacharini says, Imaha somya nadyaha. Okay, so now think of these rivers. Okay? Purastat prachyaha means prachyaha, the eastern rivers, purastat, to the east, syantante, they flow. Paschat praticyaha, and the western rivers, praticyaha, paschat, to the west they flow. Taha samudrat samudram eva apiyanti means they rise, samudrat, they rise from the ocean. Samudram eva apiyanti means they merge into the ocean. They rise from the ocean, they merge into the ocean. Sasamudra eva bhavati, they become the ocean itself. Taha yatha tatra, just like there, naviduhu, they don't know. Yam aham asmi, that I am this river. Yam aham asmi, that I am this river. Iti. So, eva meva khalu somya, in the same way, O Shvetaketu, imaha sarvaha prajaha, all of these people, satah agamya, coming from Sat, naviduhu, they don't know, satah agachamahe, that we have come from Sat. And just like the tiger, Vyagra, the Simha, the lion, Vrika, the fox, Varaha, the boar, Kita, the fly, Patango, the moth, Damsha, the insect, Mashakaha, that mosquito, whatever they were, they become. Or whatever they are, again, they become. So now, this is a very, very beautiful thing because We don't know our origin. So this is saying like, imagine the rivers, right? How do the rivers come about? It is because of that one ocean, it evaporates, correct? It evaporates and then it condenses and then it rains. It condenses as clouds and then it rains. And when it rains, it becomes rivers and it goes to different places, right? And then again the rivers, they merge back into the ocean. So the rivers, they come from the ocean and then they go back to the ocean, but they don't know that I have come from this ocean, right? Whenever the waters condense and then it rains down, they don't know which ocean they came from, where they came from. And then again they go back to the ocean. So when we look at our lives, we're very good at asking, okay, where are you from? Right? We always ask, where are you from? Where are you from? But rarely do we ask, where are you? Where is that you coming from? Not where are you from, but where is that you coming from? Where am I? Not where am I, but where is that I coming from? So we don't know our true origin means we have not inquired deeply enough to see who we are. Because if we did, we would know our true origin. There's a beautiful story to illustrate this point. It's about this person called Mani Mama. This Mani Mama. So there was a wedding. Very beautiful, elaborate wedding. The bride and the groom, they're getting ready. Now whenever there's a wedding, what happens? So many guests come. Everybody is so busy and they just try to do whatever they can do because those few days are so incredibly hectic. So this one person shows up. He's called Mani Mama. And nobody knows who he is. So the groom's side asks him, who are you? He said, no, I'm Mani Mama from the bride's side. Also the groom's side is wants to impress the bride's side. So they give him such lovely food, they give him gifts, they spoil him, they say, welcome, we'll take care of you. Whatever it is you want, we'll take care of you. And they take care of him so well. Then he goes to the bride's side. They said, who are you? He said, I am Mani Mama from the groom's side. And the bride's side also, they want to impress the groom. So they said, okay, we'll give you a shawl, we'll take care of you. You come, we'll get you a room, you'll come to all of the functions. They tell everybody everything. So this Mani Mama is sitting there and he's benefiting from both sides, like anything. And nobody's asking, the groom said, I don't want to ask the bride side to do, that she'll get shaky, why are you asking? And the bride is like, I don't want to ask him because he'll get shaky, never mind, just bear it, titiksha, So titiksha, everybody is doing titiksha with Mani Mama. And he has so many demands. He goes to the groom's side and the groom is there ordering the food for the next day. He says, no, don't order this sabji, order this sabji. He's also calling, he says, order this and I want that dessert. He's demanding in the groom's side. And the groom's side are like, just 2 more days, just relax, just let the marriage get over. And in the bride's side also, he's demanding. She put one sari. He said, no, that doesn't look good. You wear that other sari, and everybody should wear the same color sari. And the bride is like, who is this Mani Mama? What's going on? And she said, okay, never mind. Just bear it. So finally, they kept bearing this Mani Mama. He kept asking so many things. They couldn't bear it anymore. So one day, the groom, he said, I'm going to have to tell her. And the bride said, I'm just going to have to tell him. This is just too much. So they saw him. He's sitting down, he was eating and everything, and he was alone. And so the groom went to the bride, and the groom said, I need to tell you something. I know we're almost there, I know we're almost getting there. But this Mani Mama of yours, what happened? Why is he like this? And she said, what do you mean, my Mani Mama? He's your Mani Mama. He said, what do you mean he's my Mani Mama? She said, he's from your side. And he said, no, he's from your side. And they were both like, oh my God, what did he do to us, And they both saw him alone and they both went near him. And what did he do? He ran away. And then they found a lot of peace, and they got married happily, peacefully, joyfully, without that Mari Mama. Now, this is a very simple story, but the implication is so profound. The implication is that one side is pure consciousness, correct? Another side is matter. One side is I, pure consciousness. One side is the body, mind, intellect. We call BMI. This is consciousness, this is matter. Okay? Now that Mari Mama is the ego. Now where does the ego belong? Does the ego belong to consciousness? No, consciousness doesn't have any doership, enjoyership, no ownership. Does the ego belong to matter? No, because matter is matter, it's insentient. It's insentient, it doesn't do anything. The ego is the doer, the enjoyer, the karta, the bhokta. So it doesn't belong to the body, it doesn't belong to the mind because it's insentient, it's inert, it's jada, it's made out of food. We saw yesterday. So the ego doesn't belong here to the subject. The ego doesn't belong here to the object. So where is it belonging? It's not belonging to the original face, it's not belonging to the mirror, it's just an appearance. It's an appearance. And that ego is mixing the subject with the object. Saying, I am the body. Now, have you ever seen that? That the subject and object is getting mixed like that. I am the body. That is the ego. So the ego is not rooted in consciousness, means it cannot be consciousness. The ego cannot be matter. The ego is a fictional identity that we superimpose when we put together consciousness and matter. When we try to bring the subject and the object together, that is called the ego. My body is standing. Eyes are seeing. Ears are hearing. Nose is smelling. Why do I have to say I am seeing? In the light of awareness, the eyes are seeing, ears are hearing, the mind is thinking, intellect is thinking. In the light of awareness, all of this is happening. Pashyan, Shrinvan, Sprashan, Chikran, like we see in the Bhagavad Gita. Why do I have to say I? Why? That I is a fictional entity. It's not an actual reality. And that I, when we inquire, like with Mani Mama, when we inquire, that I disappears. It disappears. So when Uddalaka Rishi tells Shwetaketu, know your origin, means inquire to that I and see it disappear. Watch it disappear. Go and, I told you the other day, I told some people that the ego doesn't like Vedanta because it is the ego's anta. It's the ego's end. The ego doesn't like Vedanta because it's anta. So inquire to this ego. Where are you coming from? Where are you from? Where are you from? Where are you from? And watch its disappearance. And for us, maybe we might not be able to see that disappearance for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, but see it for 5 seconds. See the disappearance of your ego for 5 seconds. See it for 10 seconds. See that disappearance. See means remain as that awareness and let the ego disappear into that. And we've all had that experiences. When the painter gets lost in the painting. When the singer gets lost in the song. When the dancer gets lost in the dance. When the player gets lost in the sport. Isn't that the disappearance of the ego? Haven't you experienced that before? If you can disappear like that, if that can disappear and you still remain, can that be you? So Uddalaka Rishi says, know your origin. That Sat, where you have come from, that is your true reality. Not this ego. Not this ego. Kabir Das Ji has a very beautiful, beautiful line. He says, I was seeking and seeking and seeking, and what happened? I lost Kabir. Means, he lost himself because the seeker got lost in the source. Just like they say, the drop merged into the ocean. The seeker, he said, I was seeking, I was seeking, I was seeking, and then Kabir got lost. What a beautiful thing. So this is what it is. And because we don't inquire enough, we don't inquire deeply enough, what happens? Vyakrova, Simhova, Damshova, Mashakova, Kitova. We come back again and again and again because we don't inquire enough. To that extent. Remember, I also told you earlier, what is the journey of a seeker? For the pot to know that it's clay. That much is the journey. What does the pot have to do to know that it is clay? Just know, I am clay. Not do so much seva to know I'm clay. Not do so much bhakti to know I'm clay. Not do so much upasana. Imagine the pot is doing upasana. I'm clay, I'm clay, I'm clay. I mean, you are clay. Right? All these things are very helpful, and we will talk about that. They are very helpful, no doubt. But the end message is that the pot is clay. That you are already that, even if we don't know it. So, this is what Uddalaka Rishi tells Shwetaketu. Saya esho alma aitadatmyamidam sarvam tat satyam sa atma tat tvam asi Shwetaketo iti bhuya eva ma bhagavan vinyapayat iti tatha somyeti hovacha. So, same message. That Sat, which is your actual origin, that Sat is you. Tvam Asi. And know that that's who you are, O Shweta. But what does Shwetaketu say? Tell me again, because I still don't get it. This is the which time? You all have to count. This is the second or third? What is it? Third, correct. Thank you, Maya. Third, right? Third time. I'm going to keep asking you every time, so please keep score. In Vedanta, this is how we keep score, okay? So I think this is a beautiful way of understanding it. What's Shwetaketu's doubt now? Shwetaketu's doubt is, you are telling me that they keep coming back again and again and again. What is this jiva that keeps coming back? Right? What is this very stubborn jiva that keeps coming back? Could you tell me the nature of this jiva? So Uddalaka Rishi says, sure, I will tell you. I will tell you this jiva, the nature of this jiva. So now we go on to section number 11. Asya somya mahato vrikshasya yo mule abhyahanyat jivan sravet yo madhye abhyahanyat jivan sravet yo agre abhyahanyat Jivan sravet sa eshaha jivena atmana anuprabhuta pepiyamanaha modhamanaha tishtati asya yad ekam shakham jivo jahati Atasa Shushyati. Dvitiyam Jahati. Atasa Shushyati. Tritiyam Jahati. Atasa Shushyati. Sarvam Jahati. Sarva Shushyati. So here, what he says is now. So what was the first example? Honey. Honey. The second example? Ocean. Rivers, ocean. Third example now is a tree. Okay? So I'm going to also ask you each Tat Tvam Asi, what is the example? So stay alert. Asya Somya. Now, O Shvetaketu, Mahato Vrikshasya, of this great, great big tree. Yaha Mule Abhyahanyat. Abhyahanyat means if someone were to strike. If someone were to strike at the root, Jivan Srave, still living, Srave, it would exude some sap. Would exude some, if we strike at the root of the tree, it would exude some sap. Yo madhye abhyahanyat. If someone were to strike in the middle, it would exude sap. It's still living, right? And then yo agre abhyahanyat. If someone were to strike at the top, it's still living, it would exude sap. So he says here, Saha Esha, that jiva, that tree, jivena atmana anuprabhuta. That tree is pervaded by atma, or jivatma, in this case jivatma. Pepiyamanaha, and that jivatma, that jiva, is constantly drinking. Modamanaha is constantly rejoicing. Tishtati, it stands, it constantly rejoices, it drinks, it's there. Now what happens? But, yat, if asya yat ekam shakam jivo jahati, if that jiva leaves one branch, then what happens? Atasa shushyati, that branch dries up and it falls. Dvitiyam jahati, if that jiva leaves the second branch, what happens? Atasa shushyati, it dries up and it falls. Tritiyam jahati, if it leaves a third branch, atasa shushyati, the branch dries up and it falls. Sarvam jahati, if it leaves, that jiva leaves the entire tree, sarvaha shushyati, everything dries up. So what is he saying by this example? He's saying that even if the tree dies, the jiva doesn't die. So let us read this mantra, then we will see it all together. Evameva khalu somya vidhi hovacha jiva petam vavakila idam priyate na jivo priyate iti. We'll stop there and then we'll do the Tat Tvam Asi after. So what he's saying is that when this tree, right, when this tree, evam eva khalu somya vidhi, know this, jiva petam vava kila, when the jiva leaves the tree, idam priyate, the tree dies, but na jivo priyate, the jiva doesn't die. So what Uddalaka Rishi is establishing here is that jiva is a transmigrating being. Why is he establishing this? It's because he's saying that if the jiva is continuous, what is the substratum of that continuously living jiva? That is Sat. That's what he's trying to point out to Shvetaketu. So he's saying to Shvetaketu, first, come to jiva. Come to jiva, right? We already established that jiva is a false being. What is this false entity that we're so, enthralled about? This false jiva is this transmigrating jiva. And this jiva goes on and on and on. When this body is no more useful for the jiva, then what happens? It takes up another birth. Right? So like we see in Bhagavad Gita, the very beautiful example is of clothes. Right? When we have to come to satsang, we wear a different attire. When we go to the gym, we wear a different attire. When we go to work, a different attire. So we wear the proper attire as per the place that we need to be in. In the same way, we are wearing this body. Who's wearing? This jiva is wearing this body. And when this body is no more fit for that jiva, when the jiva can no longer express through this body, then the jiva drops this body. The jiva drops this body and takes up another body that is more fit for the jiva. So when we come to Vedanta, the first thing we understand is we are not this body. There is maybe a jiva. We could be this jiva. We could be this transmigrating entity. Right? Because as long as the jiva is there, the body is there. Like the tree. Right? Wherever you hit the tree, the jiva will be there. But when the jiva leaves, like when the jiva leaves the tree, the body will not be there. But Uddalaka Rishi is saying, you're not even this jiva. That sat is the substratum of this jiva. This jiva, again, is just an illusory identity. It's an illusory entity. Now, an example that we can think of to convey this is this, let us say that there's a gross body, which is, let us say, the bucket. And the subtle body is the water. I'm sure you've heard this example, and there's a reflection there. Correct? So the original sun's reflection is reflecting here. Then what happens is, death happens, kick the bucket. And again the reflection happens in another bucket. In another bucket with another body of water, there's another reflection. And then you kick the bucket again, and again the bucket happens with a body of water with the reflection. But the whole thing is happening in the light of the sun. And that sun is actually your true nature. And as long as we don't know that that's who we are, this bucket, water, reflection will keep happening. It'll keep happening. But when we realize who we are, then there is no more return. There is no more return. There is the end of that whole jiva, end of that jiva. So that sat, which is the substratum of that jiva, that sat, which is the reality of that jiva, that you are, Sweetaki. Don't get stuck in that jiva. That you are. Right? So this is what he's saying now. Sayeshwanima Aitadatmyamidam sarvam Tat Satyam Sa Atma Tat Tvam Asi Shwetaketo Iti Bhuya Evama Bhagavan Vijñāpayat Viti Tatha Somyeti Hovacha. So he's saying that true, that Sat, O Shwetaketu, is you, your identity. That's who you really are. Now, how many times? 4. What was actually the first? Sleep. Huh? Second? Honey. Third? Ocean. Fourth? Tree. Okay, very good. Now Shwetaketu has a question. Shwetaketu's question is, okay, I get it. I'm getting it. Sat, this is my essence. But how is it that from such a subtle essence, Sat, you said this is one pure being, one homogeneous being, one partless existence. One partless existence that's so subtle, that's so, beyond the mind, beyond the senses, beyond everything. How is it that from one subtle essence, the whole world can come about? I don't understand that. How from one subtle essence, many can come? How did this happen? So then Uddalaka Rishi says, oh, don't worry, Shwetaketu, I have an example for you. So now, let us see what Uddalaka Rishi tells Shwetaketu. Now he gives him an experiment. Now he gives him an experiment. Okay? So here, I'll just read the introduction because it's very beautiful. It says, it is expected that a child born in a family of musicians has an ear for music, if not talent, right? And it would be a surprise if he was indifferent to music. The truth is subtle, it's unchanging, it's without names and forms. Remember, beyond time, beyond space, without names and forms. And then the world is gross, it's ever-changing. It has so many names and forms, and it has time and space. How did this gross world come from that subtle essence? How did all of this, the truth is without time, space, without names, forms. And all of a sudden, this truth comes out, out of this truth, this world comes out with all names, all forms, all time, all space. How did that happen? So Uddalaka Rishi says, okay, Shwetaketu, here's what you do. Nyagrodha phalam atah ahara iti idam bhagava iti vindhi iti bhinnam bhagava iti kimatra pashyasi iti anvaya iva imaha dhanaha Bhagava iti asam anga ekam bhindi iti bhinna bhagava iti kimatrasi iti na kinchana bhagava iti. So Uddalaka Rishi gives him a beautiful experiment. What does he say? He says, Nyagrodha phala means the fruit of a banyan tree. So, ata ahara. So, you bring a fruit of a banyan tree. Okay? So, then Shwetaketu says, okay, idam bhagava iti. Here you go. I brought you a fruit. And Uddalaka Rishi says, bhindi iti means break it. Break it open. Okay, then Shwetaketu says, bhinnam iti is broken. And then Uddalaka Rishi says, kimatra pashyasi iti. What do you see? He says, anvaya iva imaha dhana. Means I see like really, really small seeds. They're so subtle. Really, really small, small seeds. And then Uddalaka Rishi says, asam. Of these, asam anga. Anga means, oh son, limb. He calls Shwetaketu his limb. Oh son. Ekam bhindi iti. Bhindi. Ekam bhindi iti means break one of those seeds. Break one of those seeds. Bhinna bhagava iti. Okay, I broke it. Kimatra pashyasi. What do you see? Nakinchana bhagava iti. You don't see anything. So, there's a fruit. He tells, Uddalaka Rishi says, break that fruit. Then he says, what do you see? The seeds. Okay, now break that seed. Break these seeds. And Shwetaketu says, I can't really see anything. Means it's like so powdery, it's so small, it's like hardly visible to the human eye. You can't really see it. So Uddalaka Rishi says, now think about this. Tam hovacha yam vai suvya etam animanam nanibhalayase etasya vai somya esho animnaha evam mahanyagrodastishtati Shraddhatsva somya iti tam hovacha. So Shwetaketu told, Uddalaka Rishi told Shwetaketu, yam vai somya, that somya, etam animanam, this really, really small, subtle that you really can't see, that seed, when you broke it, now it's such a powdery thing, you can't really see it. He says, Nanibhalayase, you don't really see it. Etasya vei somya, from this thing, eshaha animnaha, from this subtle thing, evam, only from this, mahanya krodastirtati, a huge banyan tree came out. Shraddhat svasomya, have faith. So think, a small seed, one small seed, tiny seed. So it is barely anything, can't really see it. From that seed, you have a trunk, branches, leaves, the tree. You have such a huge gross thing. It came out. So he says, it is possible that from a subtle essence, a whole gross world can come about. From that which is without names, without forms. The seed is barely anything. All different names that came, isn't it? Branches, trunk, tree, leaves, all different forms came, isn't it? Branches, the form of a branch, the form of a trunk, the form of the leaves. All different functions came. The function of a branch, the function of a leaf. From this little small essence, all of that came. So why can't you believe that from one sat, the whole world came? Why can't you believe that? And he says one very important thing, Shraddhatsva. Shraddhatsva means have faith, Shraddhaketu. Because when we listen to Vedanta, sometimes it's hard, it's so subtle, and we can't grasp it. So in this path, one of the most essential qualities of seeker is faith or Shraddha. That's why in the Bhagavad Gita it says, Shraddhavan lavate jnanam, right? But in Vedanta, we're not asking for a blind faith. What we're asking for is a working faith. Working faith till it becomes a fact. Because remember, in Vedanta, the antima pramana, the final pramana, is your own direct realization. Scriptures are the means. That is very true, and we will talk about that. Scriptures and the teacher, these two are very important. But ultimately, you and I have to confirm it for our own selves, isn't it? So our scriptures are not saying just have faith and believe. Our scriptures are saying have faith till it is a fact for you. Because when is faith required? Do I have to have faith that I have a nose? Do I have to have faith that I have eyes? No, it's a fact for me. When things are a fact, we don't need faith. So for the one who has realized the truth, they don't need faith. Because they know who they are. But for us, we need faith because it's not yet a fact. Right? And where should we put our faith? In whom should we put our faith? We should put our faith in 4 things. The first thing is put faith in ourselves. Because like a question was asked earlier, will I realize this truth in this life or not? Right? Will I be able to realize this truth? Have faith. Because remember, there are 2 kinds of people. The person who says, I can, and the person who says, I cannot. And both of them are right. Both of them are right. Because when we think we can, we will. And when we think we cannot, we will not. So first is start with that faith within us. That yes, I can pursue this path. Why not? We can never be bigger than our thoughts. Always remember this, that our actions will never be bigger than our thoughts. So if I think I can only do this much, you will only do that much. But if I think I can do this much, then you will do that much. So it starts from having faith in ourselves. The second is to have faith in Ishvara, in Bhagavan, in Bhagavan's Kripa. That just as whenever I take myself to be Jiva, please know that there's Ishvara. Huh? You can't say there's no Ishvara, but I'm still a Jiva. That doesn't work. If I'm a Jiva, if I take myself to be an individual, then there's Ishvara. There's that cosmic mind. There's that cosmic grace also. And whenever we tune in to Ishvara, whenever we worship Ishvara, Bhagavan, whenever we pray to Ishvara, we become available for that grace to shine through. And so have faith in Ishvara. And when Ishvara is pleased with us, Ishvara sends Guru. Have faith in that Guru also. We call Puja Gurudev as Niratam Karunamayam Samasta Janakalyani Niratam Karunamayam. Our teachers, why have faith in them is because their compassion is causeless. Their compassion is, they're not teaching because they want to teach. They're not teaching because they have not realized the truth. They are teaching out of their own compassion. Gurudev is teaching us. He's still teaching us. He has realized the truth. Does he need to go and tell everybody? No. But still he does it. Still he does it. So faith in that Guru Parampara, that they have walked this path, that they have pursued this path, and that they know the way. Sometimes we think we know the way, we know where to go. They have already done it. Why do we have to take so much trial and error? They've already done it. So go with them. They've already done it. Have faith in them. And that they're doing this without any motive. The minute any teacher has a motive, that's not a teacher. The definition of a teacher is the one who's ahetuka daya sindhu, one who has causeless compassion. And faith in our scriptures, in our shastras, that many people have realized through this same shastra. This same shastra was passed on. The very fact that you and I are sitting here and we are able to chant this Upanishad, which is thousands of years old, and the very fact that these words have helped so many, many people, why won't they help me? Why won't they help me? Right? So when we have this Shraddha, and as I said, working faith, nobody said blind faith. Have faith in ourselves, have faith in the presence of Ishvara, have faith in that Guru Parampara, that they are taking us because of their compassion, and have faith in that scriptures, we call our scriptures Shruti Mata, then we will be able to walk. We will be able to walk. How to develop this faith? Be around people who have a lot of faith, who have a lot of Shraddha. It is said that the grace of a Mahatma is such that so many people get touched by the Mahatma. With one Mahatma, we have like Gurudev, right? One Mahatma can benefit so many different types of people. Can benefit a Shishya, a Bhakta, and a Tatastha. So 3 types of people. A Shishya means a student. How can a Mahatma benefit the student? Because sometimes also as students we doubt, can we really reach that far? Is it actually possible to live a life of equanimity? Is it actually possible to be selfless? Is it actually possible to be not identified with the body and mind? But when that Shishya, the student, spends time with that Mahatma, then the faith increases. Yes, it is possible. I'm not just reading it. It is one thing to read them. It is one thing to listen about the stories of Sri Ramachandra Bhagavan and Sri Krishna. But when we see a Mahatma, when we, in this very day and age, that's why when we were talking about the women seekers, when you see how they've lived their lives, actual people in this very yuga, then that Shraddha increases. That yes, if they can go to that level, then it must be possible. For a bhakta may not be a student, may just be a devotee. Just be a devotee, maybe just likes to serve. Yeah, maybe I don't have faith in this path, but I like to serve, I like to give. Even that bhakta's faith will grow around that Mahatma because they'll see there's something about that Mahatma. I don't know what it is, but there's something there. So I also want to have that thing. I don't know what it is, I don't know what this path is about, but I'll just keep serving because that thing seems pretty cool. Seems pretty nice, so let me just keep serving, keep serving. And so in that way, the Shraddha of a bhakta also develops. Then we have a tatastha. Tatastha means somebody who's just watching, not very involved, doesn't want to get involved, at all. But still, the tatastha, there's of two types, astika and nastika. Astika means they have some belief. Now, when they see the consistency of that Mahatma, that so many people are gravitating there must be something. I don't want to serve. I don't want to attend class. But it's enough for me to see this person. It's enough for me to see that there's a person like this walking the path. Means there must be something. There must be something. So even that Shraddha will grow that there is something. Then there comes the Astika, the one who doesn't believe at all. I don't believe in this Vedanta business and all. This is totally not for me and everything like that. But when that person is there, I feel some peace. So I don't believe in all of this. I don't want to read any scripture. I don't want to serve. I don't want to walk the path. But I like that peace that I feel. I like that peace that I feel. So even their faith will grow because I get some peace. I might not want to be there, I might not understand anything, but I get some peace. Like in Bal Vihar, some people will come for the satsang. Some people will come and do seva. Some people will come to eat. You come to eat, it's okay. Because you come to eat, and some people come to drop off. You come to drop, it's okay. Why? Because in time that drop off person will come to eat. And that eating person will come to do seva. And that seva person will come to satsang. So that astika person will become, that nastika person will become astika. And then that astika person will become bhakta, and that bhakta will become shishya. So, whatever happens, they will come. They will come as long as there is a presence of Shraddha. There is a presence of faith. So even the one who doesn't believe, as long as there is a presence of faith, that faith will grow. I think I said astika earlier, but nastika, so it starts from nastika, the one who doesn't want anything to do with it, to astika, the one who's just saying maybe there's something there and watching by afar, to bhakta, the one who does seva, shishya, the one who gains knowledge. So in this way, Udalakarishi says, have faith, Shraddha Surya. You are that Sat, which is the cause of the world, that subtle essence from which this whole world came about. That is you. Sayeshwarima Aitadatmyavidam sarvam Tat Satyam Sa Atma Tat Tvam Asi Shvetaketo Iti Bhuya Eva Ma Bhagavan Vijñāpayat Viti Tatha Somyeti Hovacha. Udalakarishi said, Tat Tvam Asi. How many times now? What are the examples of the first one? Sleep. Second? Honey. Third? Rivers. Fourth? Fifth,
banana, the fruit.
fruit, seed.
Seeds.
5 times Tat Tvam Asi. Huh? But what happened to Shvetaketu? He didn't get it yet. Because he's saying, I want to see this sun. You keep talking about this sun, this sun, this sun. I want to see this sun. So, Dalaka Rishi, my dad, you please tell me how can I see sun? I want to see sun. So, Dalaka Rishi says, let's do an experiment tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll do the experiment and I will show you sun. Let's see what happens. Okay? Stop here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om